here's what most people miss. They keep searching for signs that their breakthrough is coming tomorrow, next week, next month. But what if the real question isn't when your moment will arrive? What if it's about recognizing what this exact season of waiting is downloading into your consciousness? That's the shift. Learning to hold your frequency steady when the external world appears frozen. In this exploration, I'm inviting you to see your delays through a completely different lens. And by the time we reach the end, you'll understand why your journey was never running late. It was operating on a timeline far more intelligent than you realized. The weight of waiting and what it's actually installing. People use the word stuck constantly. They look around and say the path is blocked, opportunities are locked, momentum has vanished. But here's the reframe. What if that apparent stillness isn't stagnation at all? What if it's the field initiating a complete reconfiguration, silently extracting everything that would collapse under the pressure of your next elevation? The season of waiting isn't a punishment from the universe. It's recalibration. It's existence itself slowing your forward motion so the infrastructure of your being can catch up to the magnitude of what you're calling in. No one enjoys the pause because it feels like surrender. Yet that's precisely when your power is being reconstructed at the foundation level. You see, most forward movement announces itself loudly. New positions, new connections, new milestones you can point to. But the most crucial evolution makes no noise whatsoever. It's the complete rewiring of your internal operating system. When your external reality holds perfectly still, that's what creates the sensation of heaviness. You're channeling every ounce of energy into remaining present long enough for outdated programming to dissolve completely. But from anyone else's perspective, nothing looks different. So your mind begins interpreting this as evidence of failure, when actually something profound is growing beneath your awareness. Picture someone who invested months into landing what they believed was their dream position. They navigated every single stage of interviews, visualized sitting at that desk, mentally rehearsed their first morning there, and then the opportunity disappeared. Everyone around them offered the same empty comfort about things not being meant to be. Those words never helped, because it felt like the rejection defined their worth. But 12 months down the road, they found themselves leading an initiative in a completely unexpected space, one that genuinely honored their gifts and provided fulfillment instead of exhaustion. In that moment, the earlier rejection began revealing its purpose. They weren't lacking qualifications. They were being redirected until their entire system could hold the degree of alignment that position demanded. This same pattern shows up in connections. You encounter someone who appears to carry everything you've been searching for, and then the connection dissolves. It creates pain because you interpret it as losing possibility. But here's the deeper truth. You lost incompatibility. Sometimes existence will remove precisely what reinforces your unhealed places, so you can finally experience true restoration. Moving through that space between almost and actually is where emotional mastery develops. You begin understanding your feelings rather than letting them control your choices. You develop self-reliance because you've been forced to trust your inner knowing when the silence extended beyond comfort. These are the forms of upgrading that visible achievement can never quantify. Yet they're exactly what prepare you for genuine alignment. This is systems thinking in motion. Every functional system operates through inputs, processes, and outputs. The waiting season represents input time. This is when your internal mechanisms recalibrate, when accumulated data gets purified, when emotional glitches get resolved. We typically resist this stage because it lacks glamour. It's repetition, introspection, reconstruction. But without this foundation, the entire process becomes unstable. Imagine attempting to run cutting-edge software on a completely overloaded processor. You can't force the execution. You must create capacity first. Waiting functions as your internal optimization process. Divine timing isn't about the cosmos playing games with your desires. It's about proper sequencing. You cannot integrate certain possibilities until the version of you capable of sustaining them is fully developed. This means the postponement isn't punishment. It's preservation. Every delayed aspiration, every rejection, every silence following a courageous action is valuable information. You're not misaligned with your path. The system is still integrating. Releasing what you wanted might actually confirm you're moving correctly, because alignment naturally removes what doesn't belong in your field. It resembles chaos immediately before it crystallizes into perfect clarity. The universe will not permit something to remain in your experience if it would destabilize your foundation later. That's the level of precision operating here. The very loss that created doubt about your direction might have been confirmation that your internal filtering system finally activated to screen out what no longer matches your frequency. And this means the waiting carries no waste. It's gestation. A seed cannot germinate in constant stimulation. It requires darkness. That transitional phase you're inhabiting isn't emptiness. It's hidden construction. The system is encoding new conditions throughout your reality, preparing support structures, aligning individuals who will recognize your transformation the instant your signal becomes clear. Now, if only that signal could remain uninterrupted, but that's where interference typically enters, because the moment we begin measuring our progress against another person's timeline, we scramble the frequency. We introduce static that blocks what was already moving toward us. This becomes the next layer of understanding. How comparison transforms that clean internal flow into noise and prevents your system from receiving what your evolution has been attempting to transmit continuously. The comparison trap. How misalignment disrupts the signal. Have you noticed how comparing your timeline instantly depletes your drive? That's not random. It's your system dropping the connection. Comparison functions as interference, a subtle distortion that infiltrates your internal algorithm and begins rewriting your attention. What used to feel like clarity transforms into static. And before you can even notice, you're chasing another person's rhythm rather than refining your own. Every scroll, every observation, every thought of, "I should be further along by now," amplifies that interference until your entire energy field feels chaotic. It's not that you lost your way. It's that your signal got contaminated with noise that was never meant for your system in the first place. When you measure your movement against someone else's, your internal navigation starts malfunctioning. It's subtle. Perhaps you begin modifying your goals to match what's trending, or you compromise your standards just to maintain pace with metrics that hold no relevance to your journey. Suddenly, the work that once felt purposeful feels performative. That's how misalignment infiltrates. You stop operating from authenticity and start operating from competition. And here's where it becomes complex. Comparison doesn't initially appear harmful. It masquerades as inspiration. It deceives you into thinking, if they achieved it, so can I. But beneath that surface, it's redirecting your attention away from genuine expression and toward validation seeking. That immediate urge to prove yourself, to post more rapidly, produce in higher volume, accomplish more visibly, isn't genuine motivation. It's distortion. It's like your system recording corrupted data. You interpret someone else's victory as a measurement tool for your value, and in that transition, you lose calibration. Consider those nights you've spent scrolling through feeds after a challenging day. You witness someone launching a venture, traveling somewhere beautiful, announcing an engagement, celebrating a promotion. Initially, you feel a spark of inspiration, but within minutes, your body begins contracting. You start computing. They're my age. They started after me. What am I missing? That mental spiral activates scarcity mode, not because you genuinely desire what they possess, but because you feel like you're losing ground in a competition you never consciously entered. It's like attempting to tune into a radio frequency while simultaneously broadcasting interference. You can adjust the dial endlessly, but regardless of how intently you listen, the transmission never comes through with clarity. The interference is comparison. It warps your unique frequency so nothing in your environment truly resonates. And the paradox is, while you're occupied decoding someone else's transmission, you're muting your own. Psychology validates this understanding. Social comparison theory demonstrates how continuously measuring your progress against others diminishes self-worth and clarity. It overwhelms the mind with contradictory information about what achievement should resemble. That confusion forces your internal system to process damaged data, which generates frustration and mental fog. The more energy you invest in monitoring others' journeys, the less you invest in honoring your own unfolding. You cannot optimize two distinct systems simultaneously. You either attune to their frequency or yours. From a systems perspective, think of it like executing outdated programming. Every time you compare, you import corrupted input. That damaged data creates processing bottlenecks. Your choices slow down. Your creative flow becomes blocked, and your results feel misaligned. Then you label it exhaustion or inadequacy, when truly it's just incompatibility. The incorrect input cannot generate the appropriate output. Simple systemic logic. If this understanding is shifting something in you, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you stay connected to this frequency of consciousness exploration. The encouraging truth is systems self-correct once interference ceases. The instant you withdraw from comparison, your internal environment begins restabilizing. Focus returns to authenticity, and you feel your energy finding balance again. When you stop requiring external validation of progress, your creativity begins flowing naturally again. The interference dissolves. You start perceiving your own intuition with greater clarity. You notice the subtle signals, the perfectly timed message, the unexpected encounter, the small possibility that leads somewhere significant. Flow reinstates itself because your system recognizes its own signal again. You stop manufacturing outcomes and start harmonizing with them. That's when the universe can finally receive your authentic transmission. And that's the inflection point. Because once you stop broadcasting interference, the external reality doesn't remain static. It reorganizes itself. Situations transform, people emerge, timing synchronizes. What once resisted you starts responding to you. Not because you intensified your effort, but because the signal became clear. And that's where we're moving next. The moment alignment establishes itself, and everything surrounding you begins restructuring to match your new vibration. The alignment activation, when the universe locks onto your frequency. What if the universe isn't delaying the perfect moment, but simply waiting for you to transmit the correct frequency? That's the revelation most people never grasp. They perceive timing as this external mechanism, some enigmatic force withholding from them. But in truth, life doesn't stall because it opposes you. It stalls because your frequency hasn't stabilized yet. The instant internal alignment establishes itself, the system doesn't request permission. It simply initiates. You can almost sense when it occurs. Something releases. You stop demanding things accelerate and start trusting they'll manifest. But it's deceptive because immediately before that transition, intensity amplifies. Many people abandon their path right there in that space just before breakthrough. They interpret silence as evidence nothing's happening, when actually, the system is synchronizing. It's the final moment before expansion, like the exhale immediately preceding the inhale. The system cannot update mid-cycle. It must complete first. That's where impatience infiltrates and causes people to quit processes that were moments away from completion. Here's what shifts. Once you stop forcing results and start operating from clarity, new possibilities tend to emerge in waves. Consider a creator who used to obsess over analytics. They posted, monitored, overanalyzed, and finished every day depleted. Eventually, they reached complete burnout and stepped back. Not the superficial kind where you claim you're disconnected, but constantly check your device. A genuine pause. Just creating in silence again. Not for metrics, but for nourishment. Within weeks, a spontaneous piece they created with zero attachment gained significant traction. Not because they tried harder, but because their energy stopped blocking outcomes. Their clarity became the input. That new input reorganized everything. Who discovered their work? What opportunities manifested and how their confidence stabilized? In systems language, this is the eternal pattern. Input, process, output. When the input transforms from control to trust, the process restructures itself automatically. Clarity and surrender function like purified data. They eliminate old errors that used to obstruct the program. Suddenly, you start receiving intuitive guidance you previously missed. A communication that arrives precisely when you require it. A stranger providing exactly the support you were too proud to request. That's the process healing itself. Once the foundational architecture is stable, the system must generate coherent output. That output might manifest as visible success or internal peace, but it's actually an external reflection of updated programming. Divine timing gets romanticized as though it's some inaccessible mystery, but it's actually systematic. When readiness meets surrender, patterns synchronize. Think of a seed. When the soil conditions, illumination, and pressure align correctly, growth occurs automatically. You don't command it to emerge. You simply nurture the environment. That's divine timing in action. It's not a prize you win. It's a natural response when the conditions match the blueprint. Most people misidentify the transition as miraculous. They name it fortune, an unexpected gift, the universe finally relenting. But when you trace it backward, the shift typically began when they stopped performing, when they released. There's a distinction between pursuing alignment and embodying it. The moment you settle into your truth, all the processes that belong to that vibration start clicking into position. You call it coincidence, but the system is simply reflecting your frequency. Consider someone who experienced continuous rejection. Position interviews, creative proposals, collaborations, all blocked pathways. Eventually, they exhausted themselves trying to prove their worth. They stopped over-justifying, stopped contorting themselves to fit opportunities, and finally began honoring their craft in privacy. Weeks later, one of those previous contacts reconnected. Different energy, superior offer, nothing mystical about it. The transmission changed. Their desperation had disrupted the system. Their acceptance restored it. That's what alignment accomplishes. It compels the external reality to reorganize. The system literally has no alternative but to mirror your new configuration. And once it initiates, opportunities that once seemed impossible begin cascading like synchronized dominoes. People name it manifestation, but it's more accurately synchronization. The system reads your calibration and adjusts its outputs to match. When you comprehend that, you stop chasing timing entirely. You recognize the waiting wasn't squandered. It was upgrading you so timing could locate you prepared. And once that awareness integrates, something fundamental shifts. You look around and sense it. Your moment to win isn't approaching. It's already activating. The instant your internal rhythm synchronizes with what the universe has been preparing to deliver continuously. Your winning moment isn't concealed in the future. It's been operational from the second you stopped resisting what's already aligned for you. The universe didn't require convincing. It required cooperation. Every delay, every closed pathway, every extended stretch of apparent nothingness was synchronizing you closer to flow, not further from it. But here's what the original perspective often misses, and this is where the quantum understanding deepens everything. Your waiting season isn't just building patience or character. It's actually encoding you with a completely new operating frequency. Think of it this way. Every experience of delay is actually your consciousness downloading new perceptual software. The frustration you feel isn't evidence of being stuck. It's the sensation of your old reality tunnel collapsing while a new one constructs itself. Most people abort the process right here because they mistake the discomfort of transformation for evidence they're moving in the wrong direction. What neuroscience reveals is that your brain cannot distinguish between deeply imagined experience and physical reality. During your waiting season, while nothing appears to be moving externally, your neural pathways are literally rewiring themselves based on the vision you hold and the frequency you maintain. Every moment you choose to stay aligned despite external evidence is carving new neural corridors that will eventually become the highways your reality travels on. This isn't metaphorical. This is measurable brain plasticity working in your favor. The quantum field responds not to your words or even your thoughts, but to your state of being. When you can hold the frequency of already having won while still in the waiting season, you're not pretending. You're becoming. You're embodying the version of you that exists in the reality where your breakthrough already occurred. And here's the part that changes everything. The quantum field doesn't experience linear time the way your conscious mind does. To the field, your future self who already won and your current self who's waiting are happening simultaneously. When you align with the frequency of your future self now, you're not attracting your win. You're becoming continuous with it. This is why people who maintain their alignment during delays often experience what appears to be sudden breakthrough. It's not sudden. It's the external reality finally catching up to the internal frequency they've been holding. Think of it like this. You've been living in a reality where your win exists but hasn't materialized yet because there was a frequency gap between who you were and who you needed to become to sustain it. The waiting season is the bridge. Every day you maintain your frequency despite zero external evidence is a day you're closing that gap. And the moment the gap closes completely, your external reality has no choice but to reorganize itself around your new frequency. Here's the practice most people never discover. During your waiting season, you have access to a specific window of consciousness that won't be available once your breakthrough arrives. In this space between wanting and having, you can observe your patterns with crystal clarity. You can witness every fear, every doubt, every old story that would have sabotaged your success if left unexamined. The waiting season is giving you the gift of meeting every part of yourself that isn't ready yet, so you can integrate it before your win arrives. This is the hidden intelligence of divine timing that most teachings completely miss. When you understand this, your entire relationship with waiting transforms. You stop seeing it as time being wasted and start recognizing it as your consciousness being forged. Every day that passes without visible evidence of your breakthrough is a day your capacity to hold your breakthrough is expanding. You're not waiting for your turn. Your turn is happening right now in the invisible realms of consciousness, frequency, and quantum probability. The external manifestation is simply the final step in a process that's been unfolding all along. Let me take you deeper into the mechanics of this because understanding the architecture changes everything. There's a concept in quantum physics called superposition. It means that a particle exists in all possible states simultaneously until it's observed. Your life operates on the same principle. Right now, infinite versions of your future exist in superposition. The version where you win exists right alongside the version where you don't. The version where everything aligns exists simultaneously with the version where nothing moves. They're all real. They're all happening. The question isn't which one will happen. The question is, which one are you collapsing into reality through your observation, through your frequency, through your consistent state of being? Most people don't realize they're constantly collapsing possibilities into reality through the frequency they broadcast. When you spend your waiting season in anxiety, in doubt, in the energy of when will it happen, you're actually collapsing the timeline where it keeps not happening. You're observing from the frequency of lack, and the quantum field has no choice but to keep generating more experiences that match that observation. But when you shift your observation, when you start witnessing from the frequency of "it's already done, I'm just waiting for the physical reality to catch up," you collapse an entirely different timeline. You're no longer creating from lack. You're creating from fulfillment, and fulfillment creates more fulfillment. That's quantum law. Now, what we've explored here today is the foundation of conscious frequency transmission, but it only touches the surface of how to actually master this process and move from unconscious broadcasting to becoming the conscious transmitter of your reality. If you're ready to go deeper into the complete framework of how frequencies operate, how to identify when you're stuck in survival static versus coherent transmission, and how to embody the 9 master frequencies that shift you from seeking to being, I've created a comprehensive guide called Beyond the Frequencies, a quantum guide to consciousness mastery. It's where I walk you through the step-by-step practices of transforming from someone who waits for alignment to someone who becomes the alignment itself. It's linked in the pinned comment below. This is why affirmations alone rarely work. Because you can say, "I am abundant" 1,000 times, but if you're saying it from a place of trying to fix your lack, you're still broadcasting lack. The quantum field doesn't hear your words. It reads your frequency. It feels your state. When you can embody abundance while still in the waiting season, not because you're forcing it, but because you genuinely understand that the waiting is part of the abundance. That's when everything shifts. You're no longer trying to get somewhere. You've arrived energetically. And once you arrive energetically, physical arrival is just a matter of time collapsing. Pause for a moment and share in the comments what frequency you're choosing to embody right now, even while you're still in your waiting season. What state of being are you claiming before the evidence arrives? Here's another layer that most teachings ignore. Your waiting season is also clearing your energetic field of attachments that would limit your breakthrough. Think about it. Every time you wanted something desperately and didn't get it, you formed an energetic attachment to that specific outcome. That attachment becomes a filter through which you view all future possibilities. It narrows your field of reception. The universe might be trying to deliver something 10 times better, but you can't see it because you're still attached to the original thing you wanted. The waiting season forces those attachments to surface so they can dissolve. Every moment of disappointment, every closed door, every no is actually loosening your grip on how you think things should look. And that loosening is what creates the space for something beyond your current imagination to enter. This is where surrender becomes the most powerful creative force available to you. Not surrender as giving up. Surrender as letting go of your limited vision so the universe can deliver its unlimited one. When you can hold your desire lightly enough that you're not attached to exactly how it manifests, you open yourself to receiving in ways you never could have orchestrated with your conscious mind. The waiting season teaches you this surrender not through philosophy, but through direct experience. It keeps not giving you what you want in the exact form you wanted until you finally release your grip on the form and start trusting the essence. And the moment you trust the essence, the form appears in ways that exceed what you originally wanted. There's also a biological component happening that nobody talks about. Your nervous system has a specific capacity for joy, for success, for receiving. That capacity is called your window of tolerance. If your breakthrough arrived before your nervous system expanded its window of tolerance, you would literally sabotage it. Your system would interpret that much positive change as unsafe and would create problems to bring you back to familiar levels of stress or struggle. This is why people who win the lottery often lose it all. Not because they're irresponsible, but because their nervous system couldn't hold that much expansion. It registered as threat, not gift. Your waiting season is systematically expanding your window of tolerance. Every day you stay aligned while nothing visible changes is a day you're teaching your nervous system that safety exists outside of struggle. You're reconditioning your autonomic responses. You're proving to your body that you can feel good without waiting for external permission. And that reconditioning is essential. Because when your breakthrough arrives, your nervous system won't panic. It won't create drama. It will simply say, yes, this is safe, this is sustainable, this is who we are now. Without that preparation, even the biggest breakthrough becomes unsustainable. This is also why people who skip the waiting season through shortcuts or forced manifestation often find that their success feels hollow or slips away quickly. They got the external result, but they didn't get the internal transformation. They got the prize without becoming the person who can hold the prize. And the universe is precise. It will always eventually remove what you're not energetically prepared to sustain. Not as punishment, but as protection. Because holding something you're not ready for creates more suffering than not having it at all. So when you're in your waiting season feeling like nothing's happening, recognize that everything is happening. Your consciousness is expanding. Your frequency is stabilizing. Your nervous system is recalibrating. Your energetic field is clearing. Your quantum possibilities are reorganizing. Your future self is reaching back through time to guide you. Your ancestors are celebrating the healing you're doing. Your DNA is literally restructuring based on your new beliefs and emotions. None of this is visible, but all of it is essential. And here's what happens on the energetic level that science is only beginning to understand. Your heart generates an electromagnetic field that extends several feet beyond your body. That field carries information about your emotional state, your beliefs, your frequency. When you're in your waiting season holding alignment, your heart field is broadcasting a specific signature into the quantum field. That signature acts like a homing beacon. It attracts circumstances, people, and opportunities that match its frequency. But here's the crucial part. Your heart field is constantly being read by other heart fields around you. When you hold steady frequency during waiting, you're not just changing your own reality. You're influencing the field of everyone you encounter. This is why some people seem to carry luck with them, why opportunities find them, why doors open in their presence. It's not luck. It's coherent heart field resonance. Their electromagnetic signature is so clear, so steady, so aligned, that it literally reorganizes the field around them. And you develop that coherence not through success, but through maintaining alignment during the waiting. Every moment you choose faith over fear, trust over control, presence over anxiety, you're strengthening the coherence of your heart field. You're becoming a walking probability shifter. There's also a concept in quantum physics called entanglement. When two particles become entangled, they remain connected regardless of distance. If you change the state of one, the other changes instantly. Your consciousness is entangled with your desired reality. The moment you shift your internal state, your external reality must eventually shift to match. But there's a time delay in the physical realm. That time delay is your waiting season. It's not that nothing's happening. It's that the quantum shift already occurred and physical reality is catching up. When you understand this, waiting becomes exciting rather than frustrating. You're not waiting for something to happen. You're watching something that already happened in the quantum field slowly materialize in the physical. Think of it like ordering something online. The moment you click purchase, the transaction is complete in the digital realm. But there's still a shipping period before the physical item arrives at your door. During that shipping period, you don't panic and think, maybe it's not coming. You know it's coming because the transaction already completed. Your waiting season is the shipping period. The quantum transaction already occurred the moment you aligned with your desire. Now you're simply waiting for physical reality to deliver what's already yours in the field of infinite possibility. This reframe changes everything. You stop anxiously wondering when will it happen and start peacefully knowing it's already done. I'm just waiting for delivery. That shift from anxious anticipation to peaceful knowing is itself the frequency adjustment that speeds up the delivery. Because remember, the quantum field responds to your state of being. Anxious anticipation broadcasts, "I don't have it yet," which keeps generating more waiting. Peaceful knowing broadcasts, "It's already mine," which accelerates manifestation. Same desire, different frequency, completely different timeline. Take a moment and comment below with this phrase. My signal is clear. I am ready. Not as a hope, but as a declaration to the quantum field itself. Let it be your conscious interruption in the old loop. Your energetic signature saying, "This is the moment I choose to align." Here's what starts happening as you approach the moment of breakthrough. Time itself begins to feel different. You might notice synchronicities increasing, numbers appearing repeatedly, songs playing with lyrics that speak directly to your situation, conversations with strangers that contain exactly the message you needed. These aren't coincidences. These are confirmations that your frequency is locking into the timeline where your breakthrough exists. The universe is essentially saying, "Yes, you're getting closer. Keep going, you're almost there." You might also notice that people from your past suddenly reappear. Not randomly, but because your new frequency is activating old connections in new ways. Sometimes the opportunity you've been waiting for comes through the most unexpected person. Someone you haven't spoken to in years reaches out right when you've fully released attachment to how your breakthrough should arrive. That's not luck. That's the field reorganizing to match your new vibration. Your release of control allowed the universe to use pathways you would have never consciously chosen. Another sign your turn is coming is the appearance of what I call threshold tests. These are moments where the universe checks if you're really ready. You might get offered something that looks like what you wanted, but doesn't feel quite right. You might experience a temptation to compromise your standards because you're tired of waiting. You might face a situation where choosing alignment means potentially waiting even longer. These aren't obstacles. These are final calibrations. The universe is making sure you won't settle for close enough when the real thing is about to arrive. The people who pass these threshold tests are the ones who break through with something that's actually sustainable and fulfilling. The ones who fail these tests get what they thought they wanted and then realize it wasn't what they actually needed. If this exploration is touching something deep within you, if you feel the truth of these words resonating in your body, then I invite you to subscribe not just to this channel, but to this frequency. This isn't about content consumption. This is about joining a space where consciousness expansion is the foundation. Subscribe to stay coherent, to stay elevated, to stay connected to this movement of beings who understand that reality responds to frequency. You might also experience what feels like a dark night of the soul right before your breakthrough. Everything you thought was solid starts feeling uncertain. Old wounds resurface. You question everything you've been building toward. This isn't a sign you're going backward. This is the final purge. Your system is releasing every last bit of old programming that would interfere with your new reality. It feels like falling apart because, in a way, you are. The old version of you is dissolving completely, so the new version has room to fully emerge. Most people interpret this as failure and quit right here. But if you can recognize it for what it is, a chrysalis moment, a death before rebirth, you'll move through it and emerge transformed. And then, often when you least expect it, when you finally stopped watching the door, it opens. Your breakthrough arrives not with fanfare, but with a quiet knowing. It might look smaller than you imagined or different than you planned, but it feels right in a way nothing else ever has. And you realize in that moment that every delay, every detour, every disappointment was guiding you here, to this specific opportunity that fits you so perfectly, it feels like it was designed with you in mind. Because it was. It was waiting in quantum superposition for you to become the version of yourself that could receive it without resistance. Your winning moment doesn't announce itself with trumpets. It arrives in the stillness you've been cultivating. It meets you in the frequency you've been holding. It recognizes you because you've become it. And suddenly, the waiting season makes complete sense. You're not grateful it's over. You're grateful it happened. Because you realize that version of you that entered the waiting season couldn't have held what this version of you is about to receive. The waiting wasn't a delay. It was a delivery system for your transformation. If this transmission landed deeply for you, consider watching this again tomorrow morning to anchor these frequencies before your day begins. And if someone in your life is moving through their own waiting season, share this with them. That act of sharing doesn't just help them. It creates an energetic ripple that reinforces these truths in your own field, accelerates your own manifestation, and strengthens the collective frequency we're all building together. Your sharing becomes part of your own quantum broadcast. There's also a spiritual dimension to this that transcends the quantum mechanics, though they're intimately connected. Your soul has a blueprint, a map of experiences, lessons, and transformations it came here to complete. Your waiting season is often a soul-level recalibration where your human desires align with your soul's blueprint. Sometimes what you think you want isn't what your soul came here to experience. The waiting season creates the space for that misalignment to reveal itself and for your desires to evolve to match your soul's true calling. When that alignment occurs, when human will and soul purpose become one, that's when the floodgates open. Because now the full force of your soul's intention is behind your desires, and nothing can stop that kind of aligned momentum. This is why some breakthroughs feel so right, so destined, so inevitable when they finally arrive. It's because they weren't just about getting what you wanted. They were about becoming who you truly are. The waiting season stripped away the false desires, the ego attachments, the conditioned wants that weren't truly yours. What remains is pure soul desire, and soul desire always manifests because it's in alignment with the universe's intelligence. Your soul and the universe are not separate. They're made of the same consciousness. When your soul desires something, the universe is essentially desiring it through you, and the universe always fulfills its own desires. As we close, I want you to do one more thing. Drop one word in the comments that captures the energy you're choosing to embody moving forward. Just one word that represents your frequency, your intention, your commitment to alignment. Let it be your energetic signature to the quantum field. And hit that subscribe button not just to stay connected, but to stay coherent with this truth. Because the more of us who embody this understanding, the more the collective field shifts to reflect it. Your breakthrough isn't isolated. It's part of a larger awakening. And your turn to win isn't coming. It's already here. Your signal has cleared. The frequency has locked in. The quantum field has received your transmission. The universe has heard your soul's call. Your ancestors are celebrating. Your future self is reaching back, and physical reality is reorganizing to match who you've become. Now, all that remains is the unfolding. Trust it, embody it, become it. Because alignment doesn't rush, and it never, ever arrives late. Your turn isn't coming. It's here, right now, in this moment, in this breath. You just won. Welcome home. Now, if you're recognizing these patterns in your life and you want to understand how the universe actually communicates these shifts to you through synchronicities, signs, and quantum signals, you need to explore how divine timing speaks through the language of meaningful coincidence. The video, How the Universe Talks to You, Neville's Synchronicity, reveals the precise mechanics of how consciousness orchestrates these messages and teaches you to decode the universe's communication system, so you never miss another signal meant specifically for your breakthrough.